Well, you know, there's two types of flowers in there. You get the first one, you get the rose. When the first rose sees the rose, you know it's good. Are you a song leader? Are you a reluctant song leader or not?
Mucho gusto conocerte.
Buenos días.
Un momento, por favor. My name is Marilu Casadeval Keller. I'm Vice President of the Board of Trustees of the Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota and a member of our worship and music committees. We especially want to welcome our visitors both on campus and over live stream. We invite our visitors to participate in any of our events. We welcome you to find out more about us and Unitarian Universalism by registering on our virtual guest book, which you can find via a link on the homepage of our website at uusrq.org. If you're here in person, there's a sign-up sheet for the visitors at the welcome table outside the door. If you sign up, we'll send you our weekly newsletter and Zoom links to our virtual events. We invite everyone to join us for refreshments and conversation after the service. Members, please be sure to greet any visitors on your way out of the service today. They will have on the paper name tags, and first-time visitors have a red border on their name tag. You never know who might become your new good friend. We're only having one service this season, but we need all our members' help. Please try to fill in the front rows. We still have a couple seats. We still have 5, 6, 7 seats up front. Over on the right, we have seats. And fill in the middle so that visitors can find seats together. After the children leave, there will be a few more seats up front as well. And if today is the day you have decided to become a member of the UUs of Sarasota, please meet in the minister's office 15 minutes after the end of the service to learn more about being a member and to sign our membership book. And next Saturday, it's Saturday, not Sunday, March 8th, from 4 to 6 p.m., we have a special treat. In honor of Women's History Month, which started yesterday, the Music Committee has arranged for a concert of female classical composers by a renowned pianist and a fellow UU, 91-year-old Priscilla Fullerton. Her resume is very impressive. You've heard of Beethoven, Bach, and Schumann, right? But have you heard about Clara Schumann, Maria Ana Martinez, or Lily Bullinger? Come learn about these women and others right here in our sanctuary. Tickets are on sale in the courtyard after the service, and we have extra posters as well. So please help us spread the word. We would like to fill part of the sanctuary at least, so please join us. And there will be wine and cheese, so it will be a fun event. And someone told me last week that they saw her in Venice. She did the UU in Venice, and she's doing the UU in St. Pete, and they told me she was fantastic. So I urge you to support her. Unfortunately, the Paul Duffy concert on March 16th, on Sunday, March 16th, was canceled. If you bought tickets, please come to the ticket table and we'll return your money. And now we have a flea market announcement. There is a pod. You can see it out the side window there. It's yellow. And you have times available to drop things off. The flea market is Saturday, 2 Saturdays, March 22nd from 8:30 to 1. And how many of you have been to our flea market or helped out in the past? All right, the rest of you are going to have your hands raised next year because it's an all hands on deck event because we need to price every single item. So, and it's a lot of fun. They have coffee and donuts, and you stand around a table and you say, how much is this worth? Oh, that's nice. So it's a lot of fun. And on Friday night, it's one of the best parties of the year because on Friday, March 23rd, from 4 to 6:30 p.m., we have, again, wine and cheese. And you get to do a preview where you get to go around everything first and say, oh, I like that, I like that. Some of the favorite things I have in my house, I bought at this flea market. So we have some really great donations. It's $10 sales in advance and $15 at the door. And the pod is going to be open for 1 hour after the service on Sundays. And for the next 2 weeks, it's going to be open from 12 to 2 on Mondays and Thursdays. So they want things in the pod to be in a box that's closed so that they can stack them. And then when the donations come in the week of, you can bring stuff the week of, and they'll be assigned to a different room. The whole place is filled up. This sanctuary is full of tables and home goods and linens and things. It's a lot, it's fun. All right, and now we have our opening hymn. Thank you. Oh, I did that first, didn't I? Yeah. I jumped right in. All right.
So we'll do it once together.
Yes, we're going to do this once together. It's come, come, whoever you are. It's quite common to most of us. Come, come, whoever you are. And we're going to sing. That side is going to sing. We're going to sing it all together. And then that side will sing first. And then this side will sing as a round. And the round will go 3 times through. Okay? All right. Stand as you're able.
Okay, I know that was all very exciting for everybody. You know, the rounds are always exciting and unpredictable things. As you will hear today, there are going to be some exciting and unpredictable things that will happen in service today, just as in life. We'll be hearing from some members of our immigration justice team. But first, it is my honor to invite up Joni Adno, who has been with us before, to share some of her wonderful music. Thank you.
Hello. Wow. A lot of people here today. Far, we've been traveling far, without a home, but not without a star. Free, only wanna be free. We huddle close, hang on to a dream. On the boats and on the planes, they're coming to America, never looking back again. They're coming to America. Oh, don't it seem so far away? We're traveling light today in the eye of a storm, in the eye of a storm. Home to a new and a shining place. Make our bed and we'll say our grace. Freedom's light burning warm. Freedom's light burning warm. Everywhere around the world, they're coming to America. Every time that flag's unfurled, they're coming to America. Got a dream to take them there. They're coming to America. Got a dream they've come to share. They're coming to America. They're coming to America. They're coming to America. They're coming to America. They're coming to America today. Oh, today. 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 My country, 'tis thee, sweet land of liberty. Of thee I sing, of thee I sing today. 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 Thank you.
So I remember I first heard that song, it was from the jazz singer with Neil Diamond, and talked about how immigrants or children of immigrants and their struggle between their birth culture and assimilating into American culture. And I found I personally found it a very powerful movie and song. My opening reading today, it comes from Emma Lazarus, the new Colossus, which is what is on the Statue of Liberty. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep ancient lands your storied pomp, cries with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. So let our chalice, as we light it now, be a symbol of welcome like that torch. And please join me now as we light the chalice in affirming our value of generosity that's in the order of service and will be displayed there. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. We covenant to freely and compassionately share our faith, presence, and resources. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality.
Good morning. Not on yet. Good morning. Not yet. Hello. Sound booth. Hello. There I am. Yay! I always love it when technology works. Okay. Today's story is Watch Me, a story of immigration and inspiration by Doyen Richards and illustrated by Joe Cepeda. So Joe grew up in Sierra Leone, a small West African country. He had nice manners and good grades, and like you, always listened to his parents. Well, maybe not always. Joe had goals and dreams just like you. He knew he had to make a big move in order to achieve them. Joe wanted to go to America. His friends and family said people would laugh at his accent and fear his dark skin, and they said he would never fit in. But he was different, and perhaps like you, Joe smiled and said, "Watch me." His friends and family were right. The food in America was strange, and the music was new, but perhaps like you, he enjoyed it. But Joe missed Sierra Leone. In America, some people teased Joe about his accent and his dark skin, and some people told him to go back to Africa. It hurt Joe to be hated for things he could not control, just like it hurts you. Maybe going back home to Africa was safe and easy, the thing to do. But Joe's dreams didn't hang out with safe and easy. To those who doubted he couldn't make it in America, he said, "Watch me." Look around. Do you see people like Joe? Do you watch them learn and study surrounded by books? Do you watch them as they deal with all kinds of looks? Do you watch them throw an awesome curveball? Do you watch them eat lunch by themselves down the hall? They come by plane, perhaps like you. They come by boat. Maybe you did too. Watch them. See them. This land is your land, and this land is our land, and there's enough land for everyone. But what about Joe? So Joe studied, and perhaps like you, he studied hard. And he knew he had to work twice as hard to prove that he actually belonged here. Many of his teachers and his classmates thought he wouldn't graduate. "Watch me," Joe said. And at the end of his school years, he was Dr. Joe. And how do I know? Because Dr. Joe is my dad. Right now, a kid is dreaming of coming to America to become the next Dr. Joe. You don't think she can do it? "Watch me," she says and smiles. So immigrants come to America for many of the same reasons your ancestors came: to flee poverty and starvation, to have access to a better life through hard work, or to be free of persecution by those in their native lands. Unlike Joe, many come with dreams and goals. Unlike Joe, many immigrants work harder than those whose families have been here for generations because they know of the hardships in their native land. You know, I personally cannot imagine traveling to a new land with few, if any, belongings or money, where I did not know the language or the culture or the history of that country to try to make a better life. And many times immigrants have left behind violence only to find a different kind of violence here. And yet, immigrants are those who have made America what it is. Immigrants contribute to our country in so many different ways. And just like Dr. Joe, I am grateful to them for their courage and their resilience and their fortitude. Thank you. And now I invite our children and youth to join me and Miss Julie in the West Wing for a lesson on the Jewish holiday of Purim. Thank you.
It's me again. So Guthrie wrote this. This is a true story about something that happened in 1948. So deportation is not a new problem for people. The crops are all in, the peaches are rotting, oranges are piled in their creosote dumps. They're flying them back to that Mexican border to pay all their money to way it back again. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita, adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have your names when you ride the big airplane. All they will call you will be deportees. My father's own father, he waded that river. They took all the money he made in his life. My brothers and sisters came working the fruit trees. They rode the truck till they took down and died. Some of us are legal, some are not wanted. Our work contract's out and we have to move on. 600 miles to that Mexican border. They chase us like outlaws, like rustlers, like thieves. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita, adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't need your name when you ride the big airplane. All they will call you will be deportees. We died in your hills, we died in the deserts, we died in your valleys, we died on your plains. We died neath your trees and we died in your bushes, both sides of the river, we die just the same. Sky plane caught fire over Los Gatos Canyon. Fireball of lightning that shook all our hills. Who are all these friends who are scattered like dry leaves? The radio says they are just deportees. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita, adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have your name when you ride the big airplane. All they will call you will be deportees. Is this the best way we can grow our big orchards? Is this the best way we grow our good fruit? To fall like dry leaves and to rot on my topsoil, to be called by no name except deportees. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita, adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have your names when you ride the big airplane. All they will call you will be deportees. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita, adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't need your name when you ride the big airplane. All they'll call you will be deportees. All they will call you will be deportees. All they will call you will be deportees. Thank you.
And so for those who aren't aware, that was something that happened. A plane crashed, and they gave the names of the pilots, and they just said, and deportees, and didn't even acknowledge the names of the people who died. That's why I felt the importance that we list them here. As centering inwards from a Buddhist, Indian Buddhist monk, Shantideva, from the 8th century. I have a little feedback here. You're not hearing that. Now we're having a lot of feedback. May I become at all times, both now and forever, protector of those without protection, a guide for those who have lost their way, a ship for those with oceans to cross, a bridge for those with rivers to cross, a sanctuary for those in danger, a lamp for those without light, a place of refuge for those who lack shelter, and a servant to all in need, for as long as space endures, and for as long as living beings remain. Until then, may I too abide to dispel the misery of the world. Let us now take a time of silence, and as we do, let us contemplate how we can dispel misery in the world.
Good morning. How's the mic, okay? I'm Patty Tun, and I am here as part of the Coalition for Immigration Justice. And so would all of you who are part of this group please raise your hand so people can see you? And those of you who went out and distributed flyers, everybody who did that, raise your hands. Thank you. Here is our mission. We are a community that advocates for and supports our immigrant, refugee, and asylum-seeking neighbors. Our goal is to advocate for the rights and fair treatment of immigrants in the area by providing resources, raising awareness, fostering community support, and promoting policies to ensure equal access to justice, safety, and opportunities for all individuals, regardless of immigration status. And you have a little flyer in your order of service today with some more information about us. So I was asked to talk about why I should care about this group. Why am I part of this group? My ancestors immigrated to the U.S. from England about 400 years ago, going back to the time of the Mayflower. So why should I care about this? Well, for a start, my personal reason is that I'm married to an immigrant. And my husband, Carlos, was born in Mexico. When we were married about 50 years ago, it took quite a while for his paperwork to be approved, even though I'm an American citizen born here. And we did what we needed to do to survive. We got up at 4 o'clock every morning and delivered newspapers here in Sarasota. We delivered the Sarasota Herald Tribune on Siesta Key. Eventually, he became a citizen. He got his medical license, and for 35 years, he took care of soldiers, of veterans in the VA hospital. He worked very hard. I think in that 35 years, he took a total of 4 sick days that he had coming to him. I worked as a university professor. We raised our son, put him through veterinary school. He's a veterinarian. And I think we've made a positive contribution to this country. So when I hear Mexicans and immigrants demeaned and dehumanized and demonized and referred to as criminals and illegals and rapists, I can't just stand by. I feel a need to stand up and do something. Why should you all care? Why should we all care? Well, I think if we believe, as I do, that we are all connected as human beings and we are all worthy and deserving of respect and fair and humane treatment, then we can't stand by when any group is targeted as a scapegoat. We're bombarded with messages every day now about illegals, immigrants. They're pretty much blamed for all the problems that beset our society right now. But we just can't do this. We can't pick any group on the basis of race or color or religion, sexual orientation, gender, country of origin. I think many of you may remember when Italians were not particularly welcome in many places. Irish were not welcome, Jews. So we might think, who will be the next group to be targeted? And will it include your grandchildren, your family, your neighbors, your friends? That is why I think it's up to all of us. Many of us here today are fortunate enough to have the relative luxury of not being in the out group that's currently targeted today in this effort to scare and divide us. So it's up to us who aren't targeted to stand up for those who are vulnerable right now and may be afraid to speak up for themselves. I hope you will join us in this. There'll be many opportunities after the service for you to come out and see what we're doing. Thank you. And here's Juan Pablo.
Good morning. My name is Juan Pablo Salas, and I am here in a personal capacity and as part of a new group who've been meeting for about a month called Coalición por la Justicia Migratoria. Thank you very much, Reverend, for allowing this voice to be heard in this room before this congregation of kind souls. Mine is the voice of a fortunate immigrant because I came to this country with permanent residence and eventually became a US citizen. Unlike many other immigrants who don't go to church on Sundays anymore because they fear detention. Millions of people wake up every morning, if they were able to sleep, to be reminded of the dangers that lurk outside of their homes for them and their families. Their American dream is turning into an American nightmare because this administration is working on the industrialization of deportations. The sudden disappearance of millions of people from this land, from this city, from these neighborhoods will affect us all. Local businesses and entire industries will be affected. Children will lose cherished friends. Families will be broken apart. Economic growth will be hampered, as well as demographic stability. The next generation of Americans will have to work harder to maintain a larger aging population. By closing its doors and windows, the US will diminish its light as a beacon of civilization. If you don't want to turn your back to this issue, we invite you to register at the Immigration Justice table just right outside. You can get connected, volunteer, learn, and participate. We are calling for volunteers to fill all the gaps and turn this congregation, this city, even this county, into a beacon of hope for the thousands of neighbors who will be affected by this. We want to build bridges between our communities and serve those in need. We will inform and create awareness about the consequences of this plan. We will collaborate to establish a support network. We will advocate for policy change and hope to create a resource center to provide support to the affected communities. You can start by joining us this coming Saturday 8 at 10 a.m. to distribute red cards and flyers to Latino business. That's our invitation from the Coalición de Justicia Migratoria. Thank you very much.
And now I have another invitation for you. As we go forth to do this work, we as well need the ability to do so, and we do that partially. One, we ask you, if you haven't pledged yet, to please pledge for next year so we can plan a budget that includes monies for the immigration team. And as well, though, we do this through our weekly collection. Please be as generous as you can And when the basket passes you, or if you're online or with a phone here, you can use a QR code, or in the YouTube notes there is a link to donate as well. Let this sacred time begin.
Hello, my name is John Ferreira. I've been here before. I've got to tell you, I am a substitute organist for a lot of churches here in town, and I've seen a lot of congregations that have grown smaller. You have grown bigger. You really have. That is sensational. When asked by Don, and I think Don called me in October to come and be the pianist for this particular Sunday, and he's on a well-deserved vacation, I thought about it, and of course the Statue of Liberty came to me immediately, but I wanted something else along with that. There was not just the the reading of the new Colossus. I wanted something else. Then I found the song, "What the World Needs Now is Love, Sweet Love." But that does talk about things we have too many of, and I didn't want to say that. So what I am going to do for you in music is play the actual words that are on the Statue of Liberty, just a little teeny snippet of what the world needs now is love. And then I'm going to go back and very strongly play the words again. Give me your tired, your poor.
And now I'm going to invite one more time. Yep, come on up. We're gonna just skip the reading today. So.
Wasn't quite ready for that. I was hoping to get read to. What is this Latin America? So many have traveled there. I'm going there while I'm still young, my darling, meet me there. Wish me luck, my lovely, I'll send for you when I can. And we'll make our home in the American land. Over there, the women wear silk and satin to their knees. Children dear, the sweets I hear are growing on the trees. Gold cones rushing out rivers straight into your hands. If you make your home in the American land, there's diamonds on the sidewalk, there's gutters lined with song. Here I hear the beer flows to the faucets all night long. There's treasure for the taking for any hard-working man who will make his home in the American land. I docked at Ellis Island in the city of light and spire. Wandered to the valley of red-hot steel and fire. Made the steel that built the cities with the sweat of our two hands. We made our home in the American land. There's diamonds on the sidewalk, gutters lined in song. Here I hear the beer flows to the faucets all night long. There's treasure for the taking for any hard-working man who will make his home in the American land. Big Nichols, the Pulaskis, the Smiths, the Rillis too. Blacks, the Irish, the Italians, the Germans, and the Jews come across the water 1,000 miles from home with nothing in their bellies but the fire down below. They died building railroads, they worked to skin and bones. Died in fields and factories, names scattered in the wind. Died to get her 100 years ago, they're dying now. The hands that built the country were always trying to keep down. There's diamonds on the sidewalk, there's gutters left in song. Dear, I hear the beer throws to the faucets all night long. There's treasure for the taking for any hard-working man who will make his home in the American land. There's diamonds on the sidewalk, there's gutters left in song. Dear, I hear the beer throws to the faucets all night long. There's treasure for the taking for any hard-working man who will make his home in the American land. Who will make his home in the American land. Woo! Yeah. Bruce Springsteen.
It is always a good Sunday when we can hear Bruce Springsteen in service. So, I'll get there. That was a long reading, which is why I left it out. It's very interesting because in the forum, can you hear me? Okay, in the forum, they put up a book saying, "We are not all immigrants," which is true. But we are, unless you are directly descended 100% from Native Americans, we are all immigrants. I want to just say this. I look at this in a both analogous and a literal sense as well. As a progressive religion, we use new knowledge as it becomes available to us, and we use it, newness. Right, to better understand our existence and what it means to be human. We not only use new knowledge, but we search. We actively search for new knowledge and understanding. We go to distant shores of our mind to understand things, right? This is part of the core of Unitarian universalism. The principles and values of Unitarian Universalist Association call us to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We search not only in far-off places in the world, but also in the far-off places and the depth within ourselves to find that truth and meaning. Now, from a literal sense, as I said, unless someone here is 100% Native American, we are all immigrants or descendants of immigrants. For many immigrants coming to this country, it was often a push-pull. I think, actually, somebody when I walked in handed me a button that said, "Proud descendant of immigrants." And I would say I am. My grandfather was an immigrant to this country. And often it was a push-pull, right? Most were being pushed out of their country. I know my grandparents came from Lithuania, and the Cossacks were burning their town and forcing them out because of their religion. And often, and that's a very common story, of people escaping an existence of persecution, and a persecution of poverty, of hunger and violence. And they were pulled here with hopes and dreams of a better life and for a better future for their descendants. And let us not forget, there were many involuntary immigrants here as well. African Americans brought to America to work in slavery for the benefit of more powerful immigrants. And let us not forget that discrimination in hiring did not and does not provide the same opportunities for people of color throughout our country's history up until including today. We need to be honest about that. Immigrants from all generations are hard workers. Immigrants did have opportunities and often did create better futures for their descendants. Now, of course, we always tend to hold up the success stories, right, which is good. It gives people hope. But we should not forget, similar to what the song said, we should not forget that there were many, many immigrants who came to this country and were abused by their employers, or they were conscripted into our army and never had that opportunity. And I tell you, it is no different for immigrants today. They just want a better life for themselves and their descendants. Some will be successful and some will not. The large majority of immigrants who come here to work hard at low-paying jobs that often no other citizen will take at any price. Within this country, we think of nothing of just picking up stakes and moving for a better opportunity anywhere in the country. I've gone from New York to Florida to Iowa, back to Florida. My sister went from New York to New Hampshire to California. Now she's in Massachusetts. We think nothing of moving for a better opportunity. But most people in poverty don't have that ability to just pick up and move, right? So those who come here must be desperate and need to be here, right? The poem that I was going to read, Home, one of the lines says, "You don't leave home unless home is the mouth of a shark." And went through a whole litany of the dangers that people face in their home countries that draw them to leave. So I would propose, I would propose open borders personally. I propose that we allow more people to move here so that they will have the opportunities that our ancestors had. Just because my ancestors got here first, does that mean others can't come in? That doesn't make logical sense to me. So we want people to have opportunities, to use their energy, their hunger for opportunity to transform and improve the world. Now, I think about the United States. How many? There's so many. If you go through the list of inventions, scientific discoveries, medical advances, have been created by immigrants and descendants of immigrants. You just look at the head of most of the tech companies, they are almost all immigrants. When I mention to people that we are all immigrants, when I am speaking of allowing more immigrants into this country, people often say, well, we came here legally. And first, I wonder what the Native Americans felt about that. I mean, they didn't have any written laws preventing Europeans from coming here. There are, of course, many stories of indigenous peoples of this country trading with and welcoming Europeans. There was plenty of land to share. But as more and more Europeans came, well, we know the well-documented history of deception and deportation and violence towards the Native Americans. Historical writings of Native Americans express their bewilderment by the clash of cultures, merely trying to preserve their way of life. And so I wonder if some of our own fear about immigrants is in this country, is projecting of our own history onto the future, of people we don't know, cultures we don't know, fearful, trying to protect our own way of life. We assume that because we did not act cooperatively when our ancestors arrived, that others who come to our shores will not act cooperatively with us. Well, Ralph Waldo Emerson, famous Unitarian, said, and I think quite poignantly, people do not seem to realize that their opinion of the world is also a confession of their character. So over time, we created laws to keep people out, but not all people. The first law to exclude immigrants was the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1870. And then in the early 20th century, there was an informal treaty to exclude Japanese people. And it wasn't until after World War I, so the early 1900s, that we started putting a quota limiting the number of people who could come into this country. And then they had specific limits from what countries people could come from. It was not until the 1960s, my lifetime, where we eliminate country of origin as a determining factor as to who could enter the country. Prior to the 1960s, we admitted many more Europeans than non-Europeans, and there was not a big clamor about immigration. We had a lot of Irish immigrants in my neighborhood, undocumented Irish immigrants. I never heard anybody complain about them. And if the same immigration patterns hold that we have had since the 1960s, our country will, as it already is in parts of this country and in some counties in Florida we know already are, will be over 50% non-white. And I think that fact, whether consciously or unconsciously, is creating a backlash against immigration in this country. So I stand before you today and tell you that just as diversity of theology is a strength of our religion, so too can diversity in our population be a strength for our country. Evolution advances when we collaborate. Going back to when we were single-cell amoebas, right, who collaborated to become multi-cell amoebas. If they didn't collaborate, we wouldn't exist today, right? We should not fear it. We should embrace it. There is a better way, not a way of destruction, but of building bridges. There's a better way, not of exclusion, but of inclusion. There is a better way, not of indifference, but of compassionate action. Let us continue our policy of opening our doors and knocking down walls, not only our country's borders, but of our own hearts, to take in people who can and will change and enrich us and our country. Let us go forth and do the work that we can do here in our local community to bring justice to this community, so this community can be a model to other communities. It takes work, but if we are doing what we believe in our hearts to be true, such work can be effortless. So that is what I ask of you to do, to step back and contemplate why it is that so many fear immigrants. As I started this sermon, we are all immigrants. Immigrants not only with our bodies, but may we be immigrants with our hearts, right? Searching to find meaning in and of the universe. May we emigrate to that not so distant shore where we may find peace of mind. May we emigrate to that place where we find the truth that heals us. And may we emigrate to that place in our heart where we can realize love for all people. May it be so. I invite you to rise in body and or spirit for our closing hymn 134, Our World is One World. Reverend Peter Morales, from A People So Bold. Loud voices urge us to choose fear and denial, reactionary nationalism and racism. We must resist and choose the better way, urged by every major religious tradition. We must choose the path of compassion and hope. We must choose a path that is founded on the recognition that we are all connected, that we are all in this together. Please join me now in extinguishing the chalice. The words will be on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you all for your presence here today. Go forth, do good, be well. Thank you.